welcome back. This is my second video. What I didn't say last time is if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe. Right now, these are the only reviews that I'm doing. So this is I May Destroy You Season 1, Episode 4. And this episode is not for the lighthearted. If you have trauma, any kind of history that this would trigger, any evoke emotions that maybe you don't want to deal with, this may not be the episode for you. I had to stop several times to see if I wanted to continue, but I like the show. I still do like the show. There's not a lot of superficial fluff. This actually deals with the what happens after an assault, when you have to sit in those emotions and deal with it. It's not the type of movie where the assault happens, she falls in love with a guy and she's happily ever after and she's smiling. This is a survivor who's having to deal with the therapy, having to deal with the fact that she has to get back to work, she has to make money, and that's what happens in real life. In real life, people don't get to take 2 years off and go to Europe or go to the Bahamas and relax and sit in the sun. They have to get back to work, and this is exactly what we're seeing Arabella do. It opens up with her in counseling, and it's an awkward counseling session. You can tell she's like, I gotta sit here for an hour, and the counselor is kind of talking to her and telling her, asking her, what do you do? What do you do with those feelings when they come up? And she says that she's around other people. She tries to be around other people. And then the counselor says, what happens when you're not around other people? And she says, I just repeat this mantra, there's war in Syria, there's war in Syria. Another thing she says is, children are hungry, there are starving children, there are starving children. Or this one was funny, not everyone has an iPhone. So these are things that she repeats to herself. I guess she says to look at the bigger picture, and the counselor points out that, or the therapist points out, when you're looking at this bigger picture, you lose sight of the small detail, which is you. And right now, this small detail matters. And I think as women, we were so used to, and Black women especially, we're so used to having to put these emotions aside and look at the bigger picture. Otherwise, we're considered selfish. And this could be true in heartbreak. It could be true in betrayal with a friend, or heartbreak with a partner. We're dust yourself off, get right back up. Real life is going on. And so that's kind of what she's doing. But the counselor is letting her know, you are the small detail, you matter, and you need to move forward in these feelings. So that was a good thing to point out. So let me look at my notes here. So then we see Kwame is at the grocery store helping an older lady, maybe a grandma or maybe somebody in the neighborhood, I don't know, helping her shop. He has this app or messenger where he's messaging someone to hook up with them. He goes to the restroom, hooks up with the store clerk. He comes out of the stall, washes up. The store clerk comes out of the stall, washes up. We see him now checking out with this older lady, and the store clerk is checking him out, and it's like the two of them don't even know each other. And I am not, I guess I'm too old for this hookup culture. We're gonna have to make eye contact and at least wink at each other that we know each other. We're not just gonna play like that. So that was a little different for me. So we see Kwame doing that. Arabella is on the train by herself, or a bus, and you see her starting to repeat these things. And we know now that when she has a flashback, or she starts feeling having those feelings of anxiety resulting from the assault, we know that she starts repeating that, and that is really sad to watch. It's a really lonely place to be, and to see her struggle with that is very sad, because that's a lot of people struggle with that. We do in the counseling session, what I didn't say before is the therapist said that when you're around environments that remind you of what happened, you're going to have increased irritability, anxiousness, and so we see that she's riding home, and then she's doing that. The counselor also asked her if she told her mother, and she said no, she didn't tell her mother, but she did have friends. And the counselor said, well, it's good to have a support system, and we know that she has that in Kwame and Terry. So she rides the bus. She looks like she goes to her home. Her brother opens the door, and her brother says, oh, what are you doing here? She said, I was in the neighborhood. And he said, well, you live 10 minutes away from here. So she goes in her room. It looks like she gets coloring pencils out of her drawer and just leaves. There was no big family connection or hey bro, you know, so you can definitely tell she has a lot of, she's closer to her friends than her family. And I do have to say, being African, I'm Liberian American now, and having African parents, I can say that when you're doing these careers, like being a writer, or these careers where you have to actually make it before you make it big, before you appreciate it and you have steady income, African parents, let me tell you, they don't appreciate that at all. You're here to be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, an accountant. You're here to do something respectable where they can see that paycheck, where you can get that big house, where they can tell their friends, this is my child, look, they've made it. So they're not into this freelancing. She's a writer, she's doing this. And even her partying lifestyle, if her mom probably knew half of that, she would be disappointed. And that's just how African parents are. And she doesn't have that relationship to discuss this with her mother, because maybe there will be judgment. You're out partying, I've told you about this behavior. So she doesn't have that relationship with her family, unfortunately, which is true for a lot of African youth growing up in different countries than their parents' origin. The parents live in this new country, however they want to impose how they grew up, but it doesn't work, it doesn't match anymore. So we see her getting these things and leaving the apartment. Then we see her working out, and I didn't know Kwame was a workout instructor. That threw me for a loop. Maybe it was mentioned in the last episodes, but I didn't know. So we see him working out, we see her working out, and we see Terry, and that's the only time we see Terry in this episode. Arabella, you know, during a moment of break, she falls to the ground. She's exhausted, she's breathing hard, and as she's breathing hard, she has another flashback of the assault. And it's probably horrible. It's horrible to be assaulted, period, but it's probably worse to not remember and try to piece and have one image that's just replaying, and that's the only piece you have. And then this person is a no-name person, so there's no justice yet. You still haven't put the pieces together. So that's hard. So anyway, Kwame takes a break. There is a guy, Malik, I believe is his name. Malik comes to the door and talks to Kwame. He said he was there with his grandmother in the aqua aerobics class, and apparently Malik is trying to figure out, Malik is probably gay. However, once again, being of African descent, he's trying to figure it out. Number one, is he really gay? Number two, would he be comfortable living that life? And so Kwame says, well, I'll be done in 30 minutes, we can walk. So we see them walking, and Kwame is proudly gay. He says, I'm not afraid because I don't live in a place where they're going to throw me off a building or they're going to chase me with sticks. He says, I'm gay, and you can see Malik can't even bring himself to utter those words. Kwame also brings up the fact that his dad is visiting from Ghana, and his dad can't even look him in the eye, and the dad walks around the apartment just cussing or just, you know, being disrespectful to Kwame and his lifestyle. So that's another, you know, example of, you know, the old school African parents. So Kwame, I think, discusses with him, Malik, you know, would you be interested in watching? And Malik was like, I don't have anything to be afraid of. And Kwame was like, why would you? Well, Malik had a lot to be afraid of. So he said, why would you? So we see that play out. Then Arabella they've assigned her like a writing encourager, a writing coach. His name is Zane. So they've assigned her Zane. They're talking in like a coffee shop, And then the girl comes and says, you know, we're closing, do you need anything? Okay, that's great, and walks off before they could even answer. So he suggests that they go to a bar, you know, hotel bars are quiet. Arabella says, no, I'm not, a bar. And he said, well, maybe we can go to the office. So she has a flashback of the day after the assault where she's sitting in the office, and she's like, no, we'll go to the bar. So they go to the bar. Another sad part, this episode was heartbreaking, was Zane ordered water and she's like, nothing for me, no drinks. And so the waitress comes back and probably as a courtesy gives Zane water and was giving Arabella, and she's like, I don't want any water. So we can see that, you know, she still has that fear. And then she looks around the bar and it starts bringing back the night. She sees a guy reaching out to touch a girl and just innocent gestures, but all of this is triggering these emotions. And this is exactly what the therapist was telling her. The therapist said, you know, if you're in places that remind you of the assault, it might be triggering. So they leave. Does this happen in the same night? They leave. Then we cut to Kwame and Malik. Kwame is texting or looking on a dating site to find someone that he can engage in sex with a third person who would be Malik. Malik has made it clear he just kind of wants to watch. He doesn't want to participate. So Kwame is able to find this person. Him and Malik are going to this person's apartment. At first, I thought that Malik was a sexual predator. I thought Malik was one of those guys who knows he's gay, is maybe upset about the fact that he's gay, maybe would engage in sexual contact with Kwame and then beat him up or do something to hurt him. We've all heard those types of stories, so I thought Malik was gonna be the aggressor. So I was cautiously watching this and I was like, oh, where is this going? So anyway, but it turns out Malik is just a guy who's trying to figure it out. Am I gay? Would I be comfortable being gay? What do I do? He couldn't even say the words. So they go to the guy that Kwame meets online, and immediately I did not like his energy. There was something creepy about the way he smiled, and as a woman, he reminded me of those guys, the type of guys that would take you out, just go through the motions, maybe, or act charming, take you out to eat, but the whole time they're looking at you like, when am I going to be able to, you know, have relations with her? Maybe laugh at your jokes, tell a couple of jokes, but in the back of their mind, they're there for one thing. So anyway, he was just kind of creepy, and he proved himself to be creepy. So him and Kwame are engaging in sexual activity. Kwame specified that he would have to use a condom. So he did. Malik is uncomfortable, so he decides to leave. And Kwame and this guy are done. Kwame is fully dressed, about to leave, and I think the door slams and cuts his finger, and the guy says, oh, come over here, let me take a look. And then he assaults Malik against his will. So this begets another question, you know, that, I mean, of course we know just because you consented once did not mean you consented twice, and you definitely did not consent without a condom. So this is for sure sexual assault. But there are people who think that we had sex the other night. I mean, so why are you saying no now? And they don't respect that. So this was a hard episode. Then, so Arabella is with Zane. They're talking, and she says, you know, if we're gonna have sex, we might as well get it out of the way. So they go in the room. She tells him also to put on a condom, and we see that he takes the condom off without her knowledge, and only afterwards does she realize that. And he's like, oh, I thought you could feel it. It was uncomfortable. And she says, you're gonna have to pay for my morning after pill. She should have been more mad than what she was. but I believe that she didn't get as mad as she could, because she knew that if she was to get as mad as she should be, that it would be to admit that she was sexually assaulted once again. If you remove a condom without your partner's consent to have sex with them, that is assault. And that would be another betrayal that she would have to deal with, yet on the heels of still dealing with the one that just happened a couple of episodes ago. And so I think that that's why she did not make it as big as a deal as probably someone else would have, or she probably would have if she didn't have the first sexual assault, because what he did was assault. Let's be clear, that was assault. And so you see her, they're walking to like a corner store, and he buys the morning after pill, and she, you know, they're walking, and then Kwame calls her. He's in tears because of what happens to him, but I think that he could hear how light and airy Arabella is walking with this guy, whether it's true or not, whether she feels light and airy, she's not. And when he hears that, hey babe, they do a little superficial, oh, I was just thinking about you. She's like, oh babe, thank you. How are you? And he's like, good, but he's in tears, he's hurting, he's in pain. And I know that at that point, he didn't want to burden his friend who is getting over her own assault. So this was a hard episode. I want more for these characters. I want Arabella to heal in a healthy way. I don't want Zane to be a permanent fixture in her life, because what he did thoroughly disgusted me. I don't want Kwame to hook up with random guys on the app. I want him to find love, whether he's gay or not, find true love. I don't want him to be on this app. So I want more for these people. I want more for these characters. It's a hard show, but I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate that we're dealing with the aftermath of sexual assault. It's not something that you just move on. There's therapy, there is sitting in your feelings, and I think Arabella is learning to do that. She's attempting to do that. However, she reverts back to her old casual sex kind of thing, but I don't think now is the time, because it resulted in this guy once again assaulting her. So anyway, that's my review. We will just wait for episode 5. Hopefully we'll see more of Terry. Hopefully we'll see more of Arabella healing. And this show is actually based on, loosely off of the main characters, Michaela Cole, I think that's how you say her name, off of her real true life story when she was writing a TV series and she was assaulted. So this is loosely built off of that. So we'll see what happens. Thank you. So if you like this review, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. I still don't have a name for the channel. I'm open to suggestions. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.